Dr. Vanita Rattan, and this channel is dedicated to skincare for skin of colour. As you know, I'm a doctor, but I'm also a cosmetic formulator specifically for skin of colour. So today's video is all about acne scarring. We're talking about atrophic acne scarring. So that's when you see textured skin, people like to call it, rather than the red marks and brown marks. I've done a whole video just dedicated to acne red marks and brown marks, which you can go and have a look at. But this one is dedicated to textured skin because this, again, is something that we don't talk about enough. And we have to be very careful because a lot of the treatments that are available can actually lead to pigmentation. So another form of scarring if it's too harsh. The problem is that with skin of colour, our melanocytes are large and they are easily triggered. One scratch, one bite or one burn and we hyperpigment. We cannot afford to irritate the skin too much. So really, as you know, this whole channel is dedicated to skin of colour, but it's also non-sponsored. So no video I have ever made will be sponsored and no video I ever will make will be sponsored. It is purely an evidence-based library for us and for our children to ensure that we get the best skincare for our skin. If that sounds good to you, give me a thumbs up. Let's dive right in. So acne is thought to affect 80% of those between 11 years old and 30 years old. That's a huge percentage of the population. Now, I remember growing up, we really didn't discuss acne. We didn't discuss actives that were necessary for acne. And I really didn't have a skincare routine at, 10, 11, 12 years old. And this is why I created the video for you on preteen skincare, because it's very important that our children in those pre-puberty years learned to manage their skin. This is when sebum production increases, oily skin increases, and this just creates the environment perfect for bacteria to reproduce and acne to develop. So ideally, our children really from a young age should know how to wash their face, should know about ingredients such as niacinamide, should know about salicylic acid, and should really have a routine from 10 years old till 13, 14, before acne really does kick in. And that's particularly important for our skin of colour children. The reason is that with us, we get not just the red marks like Caucasians get, we get the brown marks, and if we are lucky and we control it early, then we are minimizing the amount of atrophic scarring that can take place on our skin. So please, if you've got anyone who is in those preteen years, please do send them the link to my preteen skincare, because I want them to really get it under control and not be in the same situation that our generation was in. So acne scarring really is a function of how severe the acne is, because what happens is when there's a rapid destruction of collagen in the dermis, it can lead to atrophic scarring where you have that bumpy type skin. Now, there are three main categories of atrophic scarring. The deepest one is called ice pick scarring, and it's literally like a V shape. And is very narrow. So it's only about 2 millimeters wide maximum at the top, but it goes down very deep into the dermis. And that's the hardest to treat, but also happens to be the most common form of atrophic scarring. The next form of scarring is called boxcar scarring. Now, boxcar scarring can be anything from 1.4 millimeters wide to 4 millimeters wide. So actually quite big, half a centimeter. But you can literally see the two lines going down, almost like two walls going down. That can go down to about half a millimeter. So you can, it's quite shallow, and you can see that it almost like a square type shape into the skin. The next one that we have are called rolling scars, and this is where the skin looks bumpy like this, and it's actually just fibrous anchors that are holding that epidermis down to the dermis, and actually can be quite wide. It can be as wide as 5 millimeters, so half a centimeter. So that's quite a lot when you're shallow but wide is what I would say with rolling scars. Right, Dr. Lisa, how do we treat it? So first of all, I would start off with the scar-associated erythema. That's the redness that you get on the skin, or the burgundy colour that you get from the acne itself. So the two ingredients I love for this are azelaic acid and niacinamide. Now for boxcar scarring and for rolling scars, I love microneedling for this. You have to make sure that there's no live acne though, because you do not want to spread the bacteria and spread the inflammation across the skin. So you can only treat these two types of scars with microneedling if you have no current live acne. This gives you controlled micro-injury of the dermis, which can stimulate collagen production. If you want to go with a larger needle and you want to enter the dermis, then I do tend to recommend doing that with a professional. If you want to start at home, then I would just maximum use 0.5 millimeter depth microneedle. You're unlikely to get much micro injury in the dermis, however, at that length. But any more than that is going to be quite painful, and I would recommend numbing cream. So I've actually done a whole video for you just dedicated to microneedling. Now with a professional, they can actually do PRP on top. So that's a great thing to put on top in terms of restoring collagen. The other ingredients that I love are tetrahexyldecylascorbate. I love peptides too. And the vitamin A form I love is retinaldehyde, so is non-irritating, because don't forget, you've just microneedled. You don't want to now put retinol on there, because that's an alcohol and can be quite irritating. So those three categories of ingredients are not irritating. I do like Proteiny from Drunk Elephant for peptides, and Paula's Choice actually does some great products as well that have peptides and tetrahexyldecylascorbate in them too. Now with ice pick scarring, unfortunately, these microneedling is not going to be of much use because it's so deep into the skin. The two potential options could either be filler, which gives you limited results, and the other one is punch excision. Again, a professional needs to do this for you, and this also comes with its own set of risks, because that can also lead to more pigmentation. So with ice pick scarring, there's a lot less in terms of what you can do for the skin, and really at that point you do need to go and see your dermatologist, because it's not something you can do at home at all. As you know, I'm in the comments section for 1 hour at the launch of every single video, so make sure you hit that notification bell. Don't forget to download your free guide for skincare for skin of colour down below. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at the Hyperpigmentation Clinic, Skincare by Dr. V as well, and also on TikTok, Dr. Vanita Rattan. Thank you so much for watching.